Meghan Markle just threw her husband under the bus, and she didn't even try to hide it. While most couples handle their problems behind closed doors, the Duchess of Sussex took a different route, straight to People magazine, her favorite PR playground. What she revealed about Prince Harry will shock you, and honestly, it's about time someone called out what's really happening behind those perfectly curated Instagram posts. Trust me when I say this isn't just another royal spat. This is psychological warfare disguised as marriage counseling, and the casualties are piling up faster than Harry can say spare air. What's unfolding right now isn't just the breakdown of a marriage. It's the systematic destruction of a man who gave up everything for love and got manipulation in return. Here's what happened, and pay attention because this is textbook Meghan Markle manipulation. She didn't accidentally slip up in some random interview. No, this was calculated, deliberate, and absolutely ruthless. She went to People magazine, and let's be real, People is basically Meghan's unofficial PR department at this point, to paint a very specific picture. She positioned herself as a forward-thinking, evolved partner while throwing Harry under the bus as some emotional wreck who can't get over his royal past. The article described Meghan as focused on the future while Harry remains emotionally tethered to his royal past. Translation: if this marriage crashes and burns, don't blame her. She's a mature one, trying to move forward while her husband is stuck crying over his lost crown and broken family relationships. It's brilliant, actually, if you're into psychological warfare disguised as relationship commentary. But here's the thing that makes this so sinister. People magazine doesn't just randomly decide to write articles about celebrity marriages. These stories are fed to them by publicists, by sources, by people with agendas. When you see a story this perfectly crafted, this strategically positioned, you're looking at a PR campaign in action. Someone wanted this narrative out there, and that someone clearly wasn't Team Harry. The timing is also suspicious as hell. This article dropped right after Meghan faced criticism for a tone-deaf video, got dragged for more staged photos of their daughter, and received backlash over that bizarre bump photo that looked more artificial than a reality TV show confessional. Instead of damage control, Meghan doubled down and added fuel to the fire. It's like she thrives on controversy, but only when she can control the narrative and make herself the victim or the hero. And here's where it gets really interesting. This isn't just some random celebrity gossip. This is a woman publicly positioning herself for what comes next. And what comes next might be the biggest royal scandal since the divorce that shall not be named. Because what she revealed next was even more damaging than her strategic positioning. Now, buried in all that carefully crafted PR speak was one line that revealed everything, and most people probably glossed right over it. Meghan apparently wishes her husband could feel less burdened by the past and more present in the life they've built together. Sounds sweet, right? Sounds like a supportive wife concerned about her husband's mental health? Wrong. That's not a supportive wife speaking. That's a confession wrapped in passive-aggressive ribbon, tied with a bow of plausible deniability. What she's really saying is that Harry isn't happy. The California dream they fled to build, the one they sacrificed his entire family for, the one they claimed would give them freedom and authentic happiness, it's not working. The man who gave up his royal titles, his military honors, his relationships with his father and brother, his place in history, he's miserable. And instead of acknowledging that maybe, just maybe, asking someone to completely abandon their identity wasn't the healthiest foundation for a marriage, Meghan frames it as his problem to fix. Think about the audacity of this for a moment. She's essentially admitting that the life they've built together isn't enough for him. The chickens, the ocean views, the celebrity friends, the Netflix deals, the podcast opportunities, the lifestyle brand launches. None of it can fill the void left by everything he sacrificed. But rather than show empathy for a man clearly struggling with his choices, rather than acknowledge that maybe they moved too fast or asked too much, she positions his pain as an inconvenience to their perfect new life. She's basically saying, I gave you everything you should want, so why aren't you grateful? It's the kind of emotional manipulation that makes someone question their own feelings, their own needs, their own reality. When your partner treats your deepest struggles like character flaws, you start to believe maybe you're the problem. And here's the really twisted part. She's doing this publicly. She's not having private conversations with Harry about his struggles. She's not suggesting couples therapy or taking a step back to reassess their choices. She's going to the press to announce that her husband has emotional baggage, and she's the long-suffering wife trying to help him get over it. That's not love, that's strategic positioning for what comes next. This revelation sets up something even more disturbing about how Harry ended up in this impossible position in the first place, and it all traces back to the nuclear option he chose when leaving the royal family. Harry didn't just quietly leave the royal family, he torched every bridge on his way out and then poured gasoline on the ashes. His memoir, Spare, wasn't closure. It was a literary nuclear weapon aimed at everyone he once called family. He accused his father of emotional coldness, painted his brother as a jealous bully, and turned his stepmother into a cartoon villain straight out of a Disney movie. He revealed private conversations that should have stayed private, exposed personal medical information that wasn't his to share, and turned intimate family moments into public entertainment. The man literally wrote a book detailing how much his family sucked, how they failed him, how they damaged him, published it for the world to read, did a press tour to make sure everyone heard the juiciest bits, and then acted surprised when they stopped taking his calls. He expected to maintain relationships while simultaneously destroying their reputations. The audacity is actually breathtaking when you think about it. But here's what makes this whole situation so much worse. Harry still expects access. He still wants updates on his father's cancer treatment. He still believes he deserves to be kept in the loop about family matters. He still thinks he should be consulted on royal decisions and included in family gatherings. After burning down the castle, he's standing in the ashes wondering why no one's inviting him to dinner. It's like divorcing someone, writing a tell-all book about how terrible they were in bed, and then being shocked when they don't want to grab coffee and catch up. There's a level of delusion here that's almost clinical. Harry seems genuinely confused about why his actions had consequences, why his family might want to protect themselves from further public humiliation. And the timing couldn't have been worse. His father is battling cancer, trying to modernize the monarchy, dealing with the pressures of being a new king, and Harry chooses this moment to demand attention and access. It's emotional blackmail disguised as family concern. Dad's sick, so surely he'll forgive me now and let me back in. That's not love, that's manipulation, and thankfully, the royal family saw right through it. The royal family's response to this betrayal reveals just how deep the damage really goes, and spoiler alert, it's terminal. King Charles, Prince William, and Queen Consort Camilla have made their position crystal clear. They're done. Not just temporarily annoyed, not just taking a break to cool off, not just waiting for the right moment to reconcile. They're completely finished with Harry's drama, and honestly, who can blame them? William reportedly has zero interest in offering any olive branch, and this is significant because William has always been the peacemaker in the family. He's the one who usually smooths things over, who finds middle ground, who believes in family above all else. If William has given up on Harry, that tells you everything you need to know about how far this has gone. Think about it from William's perspective. His own brother exposed private conversations between them, twisted family moments for public consumption, painted him as some jealous, aggressive sibling who couldn't handle Harry's popularity, and revealed details about their mother's death that should have remained sacred. When someone betrays you that publicly, that thoroughly, that personally, there's no coming back from it. William has learned that blood doesn't automatically mean loyalty, and he's protecting himself and his family accordingly. The fact that William won't even engage says everything. He's not fighting back. He's not defending himself publicly. He's not trying to set the record straight. He's simply written Harry off as a lost cause and moved on. That's not spite. That's self-preservation from someone who finally accepted that his brother is no longer the person he once knew. Camilla, who Harry specifically targeted in his memoir as the evil stepmother playing PR games behind the scenes, has apparently thrown her hands up entirely. She's not engaging, not interfering, not trying to mediate, just staying as far away from the circus as possible. Smart woman. When someone makes you the villain in their public narrative, paints you as a manipulative homewrecker, and blames you for their family's dysfunction, you don't stick around to see what they'll say next. Remember, Camilla endured decades of public scrutiny, death threats, and character assassination before finally being accepted by the British public. She's not about to let Harry drag her back into that nightmare for his personal therapy session disguised as a memoir. Even King Charles, dealing with cancer while trying to modernize the monarchy and navigate the most challenging period of his reign, has apparently decided his youngest son isn't worth the stress. After having his parenting questioned, his marriage criticized, his private conversations exposed, and his medical information used as ammunition in family disputes, he's chosen peace over reconciliation. Charles isn't heartless. He's a father who realizes that some relationships become too toxic to maintain, even when they involve your own children. Sometimes love means protecting yourself from people who consistently hurt you, even if those people share your DNA. But while Harry's family has moved on and found peace without him, his wife has been busy crafting a very different narrative about herself, and it's arguably more disturbing than anything the royal family has done. Here's where Meghan's true genius shows, and it's honestly impressive in its cold calculation. She's completely rebranded herself from the tearful victim of royal cruelty to the calm, controlled, forward-thinking partner. No more crying interviews about how mean everyone was to her. No more dramatic revelations about suicidal thoughts and institutional racism. No more trembling voice talking about how isolated and unsupported she felt. She's pivoted to clean image curation, strategic press drops, calculated messaging, and corporate speak about personal growth. This new Meghan is businesslike, detached, almost cold in how she discusses their situation. She's positioned herself as the mature one who's moved beyond all the royal drama, while Harry remains trapped in the past like some emotional child who can't let go of his blankie. She's a level-headed wife, trying to help her emotionally stunted husband evolve into the man she needs him to be. It's a complete 180 from the vulnerable woman who claimed the royal family nearly destroyed her mental health. But here's what's really disturbing about this transformation. It reveals that Meghan sees Harry's pain not as something to empathize with, but as a character flaw to fix. His emotional ties to his family, his struggle with his identity, his grief over lost relationships, his guilt over the choices he made. She frames all of it as weakness holding them back from their full potential. When someone you love treats your deepest struggles like personal inconveniences, when they see your emotional processing as inefficiency that needs to be optimized, it doesn't just hurt. It fundamentally changes how you see yourself and your worth in that relationship. You start to believe that your feelings are wrong, that your needs are too much, that you should just be grateful for what you have and stop being so complicated. This is emotional gaslighting at its finest, wrapped in the language of personal development and relationship goals. Meghan has convinced herself, and is trying to convince the world, that she's just trying to help Harry become his best self. But what she's really doing is trying to erase the parts of him that don't fit her vision of their perfect life together. And when you look back at how this whole relationship started, it becomes clear that this dynamic was always there, just hidden under the romance and rebellion of their early days. Looking back with the clarity that only comes from watching a slow-motion car crash, it's becoming clear that Meghan never really gave the royal family a genuine chance. From day one, she seemed to approach every interaction with suspicion, every tradition with resistance, every expectation with resentment. Every protocol became oppression. Every cold look became racism. Every misstep was someone else's fault. Every challenge was proof of institutional cruelty. She came in with walls already built, defenses already raised, and exit strategies already planned. The royal family, for all their faults and outdated traditions, were dealing with someone who seemed determined to find problems rather than solutions. When you approach a family expecting them to fail you, when you interpret every interaction through the lens of anticipated rejection, you'll usually find evidence to support that belief. It's like going to a party convinced that everyone will hate you, then interpreting every neutral interaction as confirmation of that belief. Someone doesn't smile immediately, they're racist. Someone follows protocol instead of making exceptions, they're trying to control you. Someone maintains boundaries, they're excluding you. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy where your defensive behavior creates the exact problems you were afraid of. But here's the really manipulative part. Meghan has rewritten this history to make herself the victim who tried everything to make it work. She's positioned herself as the American who came in with good intentions, trying to modernize and improve the monarchy, only to be met with racism and institutional cruelty. It's a compelling narrative, but it ignores her role in creating the very conflicts she now claims were imposed upon her. Now she's reaping the benefits of being the one who got out, the one who moved on, the one who chose happiness over tradition. She's built for survival, for reinvention, for moving forward regardless of the wreckage left behind. Whether it's podcasting, acting, launching lifestyle brands, or whatever comes next, she'll always land on her feet because she's never really invested her entire identity in any one thing or person. But Harry, he was raised on tradition, duty, family loyalty, and service. Those aren't just values you can switch off when they become inconvenient. They're part of his fundamental identity, and asking him to abandon them was like asking him to stop being himself. Harry finds himself in psychological quicksand, caught between a family that no longer trusts him and a wife who views his emotional connections as barriers to their success. He's trying to exist in two completely different worlds with completely different value systems, and it's slowly tearing him apart in ways that are becoming more obvious every day. The man who once flew Apache helicopters in Afghanistan, who served his country with distinction, who found purpose in military service and royal duty, is now doing Instagram live streams with trauma coaches and dodging paparazzi on grocery runs. The prince who was born into service, who understood his role in something bigger than himself, is now navigating a world where none of that means anything, where tradition is seen as outdated baggage rather than meaningful connection to history and purpose. It's not just a career change, it's an identity crisis of epic proportions. Harry went from being part of an institution that's existed for over 1,000 years to being a celebrity famous for complaining about that institution. He went from having a clearly defined role and purpose to floating through a world where his main job seems to be validating his wife's choices and participating in whatever project she's passionate about this week. And instead of recognizing the struggle for what it is, a natural response to massive life upheaval and identity loss, Meghan frames it as resistance to their new life together. She wants him to just get over it, move on, be present for their California dream, embrace the lifestyle brand opportunities, and stop being so emotional about losing his entire sense of self. But you can't just delete your entire identity because it's inconvenient for your spouse's rebranding efforts. The most heartbreaking part is that Harry probably doesn't even realize how much he's lost. When you're in the middle of gaslighting, when someone is constantly telling you that your feelings are wrong and your perspective is flawed, you start to doubt your own reality. You start to think maybe you are being too sensitive, maybe you should just be grateful, maybe your needs really are unreasonable. What makes this situation even more heartbreaking is how Meghan has chosen to handle Harry's obvious distress, and it reveals a level of coldness that's genuinely shocking. Instead of working through their issues privately, instead of suggesting couples therapy or taking time to reassess their choices, Meghan has chosen to use the press as a relationship counselor and public opinion as a weapon. Those strategic leaks to People magazine aren't accidents, they're calculated moves in a larger game where Harry's emotional well-being is collateral damage. When sources whisper that he's stuck in the past, or that she wishes he be more present, that's not support. That's public pressure designed to force compliance. It's emotional manipulation with a witness, the entire world, designed to make Harry feel ashamed of his struggles and grateful for Meghan's patience with his issues. She's essentially telling the world that if their marriage fails, it won't be her fault. She tried to help him move forward. She was patient with his emotional baggage. She built a beautiful new life for them. She gave him everything he should want. If he couldn't appreciate it, if he couldn't let go of his royal past, if he couldn't be present for their perfect California dream, well, that's on him. She did everything right. This kind of narrative warfare is particularly cruel because it isolates Harry even further. His family has cut him off because of his betrayals, and now his wife is publicly questioning his emotional maturity and commitment to their relationship. Where exactly is he supposed to find support? Who's left in his corner when the person who should be his biggest advocate is using his struggles as ammunition for public relations battles? It's psychological isolation at its most devastating. Harry is surrounded by people, staff, friends, acquaintances, but fundamentally alone in his marriage and estranged from his family. The two relationships that should provide the most support and understanding have become sources of judgment and manipulation. You don't go to People magazine to solve relationship problems. You go there to shape public opinion, control narratives, and prepare for what comes next. And what comes next is looking more inevitable by the day. If this marriage does end, and all signs point to that possibility becoming a probability, it won't be dramatic. There won't be explosive revelations. messy custody fights, or tell-all interviews about who did what to whom. It'll be strategic, controlled, and wrapped in language about mutual respect, different life paths, and remaining devoted co-parents. The press release will be polite, professional, and completely sanitized. But behind that carefully crafted statement will be the reality of two people who wanted completely different things from life and were never honest about those differences. Meghan wanted control, reinvention, celebrity, and forward momentum at any cost. Harry wanted family, tradition, authentic connection, and a sense of purpose rooted in something bigger than himself. Those aren't differences you compromise on. They're fundamental incompatibilities that eventually tear relationships apart, no matter how much you love each other. The tragedy is that they probably did love each other, at least in the beginning. But love isn't enough when you're trying to force someone to become a completely different person to fit your vision of the perfect life. Love isn't enough when you treat your partner's deepest needs as character flaws. Love isn't enough when you use public pressure to try to change someone's fundamental nature. The saddest part, Harry probably still believes he can fix it all. His relationship with his family, his marriage, his identity crisis, his sense of purpose. He's still operating under the belief that the right apology, the right gesture, the right amount of effort can repair what's been broken. But some things, once shattered, don't go back together the way they were. Some bridges, once burned, can't be rebuilt. Some trust, once destroyed, can't be restored.